It'd be interesting to see how this game plays out. I want to say the Seahawks get the win, but I don't know. This Philly team still feels like it's dangerous because they're desperate.
Oh, surprising answer from both of you. But all the reasons you gave why Seattle should win are probably the reasons why the Packers should have beaten the Eagles when they played at Lambeau. Eagles somehow, some way put together a fantastic game plan and won that game. I'm just wondering who you think of these two is the more talented team.
At the beginning of the year, I would have said Philadelphia, but at this point, it's Seattle.
Really?
Yes, because I don't define talent. Like, is it your Madden rating, or is it how well you actually play throughout the year?
We talk about how much Russell Wilson does without a very talented team at every position.
Yeah, but he's one of the guys on the team.
Sure.
And so, like, his talent is so far outweighs what anybody on either side of the ball has. And also, I would add this. I think Philadelphia, this offseason, if it's a long offseason, which even if they win the division, I think it's going to be, because this season, barring a miraculous turnaround, is going to be a disappointment from where preseason expectations were. They could take a page out of Russell Wilson's book as far as how to make it happen with mediocre wide receivers. Now, I know Tyler Lockett's numbers the last 2 years have been absolutely sensational. So much of that is because of Russell Wilson. DK Metcalf fell to the second round in the draft despite those eye-popping combine photos because he right now is very limited in what he can do as a wide receiver. Will Dissly, who was really popping onto the scene the first month of the year, popped his Achilles, and now they are on their second and third tight ends. And Russell Wilson still finds a way to make things happen. There are no excuses of, oh, we don't have enough receiving talent. Russell would love to have a Zach Ertz. He ain't got no Zach Ertz. Carson Wentz has had that. I know everyone's like, oh, he doesn't have Deshaun Jackson. When's the last time Russell Wilson had a Deshaun Jackson?
When was the last time Carson Wentz had a Deshaun Jackson?
No, I understand, but Russell Wilson's going to win or either first or second in league MVP despite having limited weapons. Carson Wentz, we say, Nelson Aguilar dropped the pass, and they're dealing with these injuries. And some of that is, and a big part of the reason Philadelphia was the preseason pick a lot of us had them as at least being a top 2 seed in the NFC was, well, they're going to have near MVP level play from their quarterback. Kenny, they've gotten nothing close to that so far this year, and that, as much as the injuries, is a huge factor as to why they are where they are.
Yeah, they're not getting the production that they thought they would when they gave Carson Wentz that contract extension. But, I mean, in looking at the comparison between the two quarterbacks, I think it's a little unfair just because Russell Wilson's at a different phase in his career than Carson Wentz is. And you would think, based on the experience that he's had, he'll have more of an edge in terms of being a force multiplier with limited weapons. I think if Carson Wentz, if we're talking about him being healthy enough to be able to be the starting quarterback for the Eagles as long as Russ has been with the Seahawks, then maybe you're talking about a quarterback that's capable of doing more with the current group of skill position players that he has.
All right, speaking of offenses that have to do a lot without a lot at the wide receiving core, let's talk about the New England Patriots. As they get ready to face the Cowboys on Sunday, they do so with a dire need for more help at that wide receiver position. They had Antonio Brown, but released him 2 months ago. This week, Brown tweeted an apology to the Patriots for his behavior. Now, former tight end Christian Fauria says the team has, quote, kicked the tires on actually bringing Brown back. Nick, how badly do the Patriots need to bring AB back?
They need an injection in the offense, and right now, if you're looking around, the available places for it, he's the only one. They traded a second-round pick for Mohamed Sanu. He's injured now. And by the way, you overpaid because you had a desperate need. It's no disrespect to Mohamed Sanu, but
he was the third option with the Atlanta Falcons offense.
He was the third option with the Atlanta Falcons offense. No team in the league values holding on to those second-round picks so they can then flip them for future first on draft day or move back and acquire extra picks. Then the Patriots. The Patriots, one of the keys to this dynasty, other than Tom Brady, obviously, is that Belichick has understood the draft is a lottery. Nobody knows the answer, so just get as many tickets as possible. He traded away one of his prime tickets to get Antonio Brown. I'm sorry, to get Mohamed Sanu. He used one of those, his most prime ticket this past year to draft N'Keal Harry. N'Keal got hurt. Mohamed Sanu's now hurt. Yeah, they need him. Of course they need him. This is why, despite the vile allegations against AB, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick wanted to keep him 2 months ago. 2 months ago, they were like, we need him. Whatever he's doing on his phone is not distracting us during practice and during the games. We need him. And if you're the Baltimore Ravens or the Kansas City Chiefs or the Houston Texans, you are hoping and praying they do not get him. Because however limited Brady has been this year, AB can do everything a wide receiver needs to do at a high level, you can say, okay, so he's not going to be, Brady can't get him the ball deep down the field. That's fine. Run a choice route. You and Edelman on the field at the same time. Defenses are going to say, like they were for that first half of the game was against Miami.
Yep.
Miami, they're going to have no idea how to cover you. So I would argue, Canty, they desperately need him, which is why, despite all the other nonsense, they wanted to keep him initially, and it would appear they're at least considering him right now.
Yeah, that offense has got to have to kick it in high gear if they want to get where they want to go, which is competing at a championship level. When you look at their primary competition in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs, those are two top 5 scoring offenses. So you know you're going to have to be able to put up points no matter how good your defense is. And that has to be a concern for Bill Belichick in terms of where he's going to go for production in the passing game. You know they're going to try to stay balanced and being able to run the football, but in a gotta-have-it situation, who's the receiver that you can rely on? I think everybody knows that Tom Brady trusts Julian Edelman, but I can't say for a fact that he trusts any of those other guys in the receiving corps. And so that becomes a problem. I think Antonio Brown goes a long ways to giving them an answer in terms of somebody that can be a viable option, somebody that can consistently win in one-on-one coverage, somebody who you know the moment is not going to be too big for. So I look at this situation and not trying to be dismissive of the Colts, Texans, Steelers, and the Raiders, but those aren't teams that the New England Patriots are looking at. They're looking at the Ravens. They're looking at the Chiefs, and they're saying, how can we keep pace with those offenses? How can we score enough points to be able to win those games if we match up against those two teams?
And I would add another list of teams that they're looking at whoever's coming out of the NFC. The Patriots are not in the business of getting to the Super Bowl. They're in the business of winning Super Bowls. They're the only team in football that could finish second, and it feels disappointing given their run of success over the last 20 years. So, yeah, it's okay. So to get to the Super Bowl, you have to beat either Baltimore or Kansas City, potentially both, depending on how the bracket falls. And then whatever team comes out of the gauntlet in the NFC, be it the Packers, be it the Saints, be it the Seahawks, be it the Niners, the Vikings, all those teams except for San Francisco, to me, really scares you with their weapons on the outside. So how are you going to be able to match points? Because if the Patriots do get to the Super Bowl, here's one thing I'm very confident in. 13 points ain't going to be enough to win it this year.
Not this time.
You're not going to be facing the lesser version of the Rams that you were last year, no matter how great the Pats defense is. So for all those reasons, that's why I feel, I agree with you, they would even be considering this.
I have such a hard time believing a team is going to sign Antonio Brown after what we've already seen this season. But you guys seem to think that it is a possibility. Whether it happens or not,
I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm just simply saying if it were to happen, listen, I don't hide this. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. If the Patriots were to sign Antonio Brown, I would be really, really bummed out. If you're in Baltimore right now and you get the tweet from Jay Glazer that says the New England Patriots are signing Antonio Brown, you're like, really?
Why? Can anyone beat the Patriots if the Patriots get Antonio Brown?
Well, I think all of a sudden, their biggest weakness becomes mitigated enormously. Right now, their biggest weakness, would you agree, is their passing game?
Their passing game.
And you're adding a receiver that not only is he one of the best in the world at what he does, even in his very limited time with New England, but you are adding a receiver. You don't need a 5-step drop for Antonio to kill you.
No.
You don't need the offensive line to all of a sudden get way better. There are certain guys that, okay, he's great, but you need time to throw. He needs his best asset is his downfield speed. That's what Philip Dorsett's is, by the way. He's also potentially not going to play this week. Antonio can beat you that way. He can beat you on the off-schedule play. He can also beat you on a quick slant, like Odell can. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they'd become unbeatable, Jenna, but I think they would shore up their single biggest weakness with the single best person available to shore up that weakness.
Yeah, what AB does is makes that offense that much more dynamic because he's the threat that's outside of the numbers that can beat you down the field. But, Jenna, I'm right there with you. I just have a hard time believing that this is going to happen. I said it when the Patriots made the move to bring over AB the first time this year. I said if it doesn't work out,
he's done for
he's probably done this year, and it'd be hard to see him getting back in the National Football League. I just don't see that working out. He said some things on his way out the door, especially about the owner, Robert Kraft, that are hard to walk back at this point.
And he said some things about the NFL, which also surprised me that he would possibly be.
He's going to play football again. Antonio Brown's good, whether he should or shouldn't. He's going to play football again.
All right,
whatever team has him is going to be better because of it.
Will the Cowboys upset the Patriots on Sunday? That's still ahead. This is First Things First. Great.